Hello everyone. It's James again. And before I start today's video, I just want to quickly say, all work in this video contains 100% original content of and by myself James Smith, otherwise known as Bgood 4000, and was uniquely created with NAWMAL software, by myself James Smith. As I purchased commercial rights from NAWMAL to produce my unique and original video with this software. Commentary is uniquely my own thoughts, feelings, and expressions. Now that I have that out of the way, I do hope your day is going way better than fantastic. And your journey to self-betterment is going way better than fantastic as well. Today I want to talk about a couple of topics that are really important, and cover a few news stories that related to these important topics. The first important topic is the fact that narcissists want to control the outcome of your life and railroad certain great things you might be destined to do, by way of their narcissistic abuse. Now of course, we know this can and does happen at the hands of a narcissist parent or parents. And we all know this is terrible and sick. Especially those of us that lived through such things. But what's also extremely sick, evil and twisted would be narcissists, so-called teachers that do this. And for those of you that know my channel, know I can speak to this directly, through my own experience as a child. And all I can say regarding to this news story we are going to talk about, is it looks like though time has passed, it looks like special education is exactly how I remembered it to be. Now for those of you that don't know my story, I grew up in a home with a narcissist mother, who was one of the best, if you can call her that, manipulators I've ever seen in my life. And she made sure my golden child narcissist brother and I didn't have a relationship with my father, by divorcing him, and accusing him of things he didn't do, which rendered him helpless in the courts and unable to be a parent to my brother and myself. And throughout that time, my mother put on the brainwashing regarding how bad he was to us, as thick could be. Well, one thing that my mother was happy to pass down to my brother and I were educational problems. You see, my mother grew up in a chaotic home with many brothers and sisters trying to escape while living dysfunctional lives. However, my grandmother worked on my mother to convince her she was sickly and not capable of much. And this was confirmed by one of her siblings that escaped that house. And if you were to see pictures of my grandfather, he looks to be an emotionally beaten down man. But by all of this happening, my mother had really no education to speak of. She could speak really well, but could switch on a dime to sound like she didn't have much sense. However, throughout it all, her mind was sharp enough to manipulate almost anyone she came into contact with to get them to do whatever it was she wanted them to do for her. With that said, her handwriting was terrible. She could barely do simple adding and subtracting. And she couldn't read very well. Now, things happen in people's lives, where they are wonderful people, but a certain kind of work takes them out of school, and their education is lacking. And that is nothing to be ashamed of. It happens. And some people that have had that happen to them were the most loving, kindest parent to their children and to their spouse. But in my mother's case, she actually enjoyed her educational problems and wore it like a badge of honor, as she proudly used it to get free things, and to get people to see her in a certain light, other than see her for what she was really doing to her family. Well, as you can guess, if you are a child growing up in a home with a mother that can't read or write or do basic math, and you as a child are stressed out by all of the chaos in your home with constant mind games and brainwashing, you guessed it, my education greatly suffered as well. And you guessed it again, I ended up in special education. I remember a specialist would come to class and take me out from time to time to do reflex tests on me. Now looking back, I believe they were looking to see if I had some sort of neurological problems or something. However, all of their reflex tests I would pass with flying colors. Simply because even as a child I liked to stay fit. And I had an extraordinary amount of physical dexterity. I had very responsive hand-eye coordination. It seemed to confuse them. They were expecting me to be slow in every sense of the word. However, everything they tried to test me on I was fast. My problem was, I could read something and not be able to get what I was reading. However, I could watch the news as a young grade schooler and know what was happening. And I could talk about it endlessly. But then I would look at a math problem and not know what to do. So for some if not most of my classes, depending on the subject and the year, I was put in special education. And the truth was, in my grade school years, special education or not, most of my teachers were horrible and seemed to like to make life harder for me. And in the special education class, all of us, as I mentioned in a previous video, I wouldn't talk out of turn in class. I was polite and courteous. Yes, Mrs. So-and-so. And no, Mr. So-and-so. I would always ask please and say thank you. But if I had to use the restroom and I would politely ask, they would seem to enjoy to make me wait and squirm around in my chair. Then to run as fast as I could once out of the classroom hoping to make it to the restroom. So here you are. You're 7 years old. You are polite to all of these adults. And they are in return mean to you. This makes one distrustful and scared. And to quite possibly develop anxiety or other problems. And the way these so-called teachers would teach, it would let you know they really weren't there to help you. Because, and this is the important part, these individuals have made up their minds of what your life is going to be. And they didn't want to help or encourage you to be any better. And the sick part is, they knew if they did encourage you, that you might stand a chance. You just might. But these are the type of entities that enjoy. They literally enjoy wrecking people's lives. Even the children they teach in school. Well, looks like not much has changed. Allegedly one teacher and another teacher's aide were arrested and charged for causing harm to a child in their care for, you guessed it, special education. From what they say, there is a video of this incident as well. I haven't seen it. However, if what they are saying about what so-called happened, it lets me know it's the same old narcissistic playbook. Get them when they are young and need your help, and sadly wreck their lives. So they will struggle and struggle and struggle for the rest of their lives. So what allegedly happened? Well, a child in a special ed class was eating, I assume in the cafeteria. And he stood up and began to choke. And these two so-called educators allegedly ordered the boy to sit back down. Now here's the thing. I want to stop right here for a moment. You could have the most dire situation in front of one of these people. And if they are in a position of authority over you, they will tell you to sit down. Or stop asking for help. Your life could be literally ending and they will tell you to be quiet. But as sick as it is, this is what narcissists do. Allegedly. Well, the child sat back down. And he threw up all over his tray at school. Now if he were indeed choking, I'm glad he threw up. Because it might have saved his life. And if he wasn't choking, the child could have been having a panic attack. We don't know. And this is something I can again speak to. Because all of the mess I went through as a child. I had a really terrible nervous stomach. And I was upset or scared. And I was trying to eat. Well, let's say I've had a few times in my life where I got sick all over the place too. And I was treated terribly as a result. No concern about my welfare or why I was so upset I got sick all over the place as a little child. Nope. But again, these are the things narcissists enjoy. They love seeing you get sick. And they love the fact that you are scared of them. Allegedly. Well, in this case, allegedly. Though they say they have it on video. One of the two so-called educators handed the child a spoon and forced him to eat his own vomit, along with making him clean up his mess. Now if this child remained dealing with these two so-called educators, they could lay down scars in his life that would and could affect him greatly. Now, it's said it wasn't reported right away, because the child does have a problem with his memory, and he didn't as a result bring it up until now. And here's the thing. If this happened the way it happened, how much you want to bet these two did what they did allegedly? Because they figured this child wouldn't remember it anyway. Narcissists and other toxic people, you have to understand, are sadists. They love and thrive on the pain of others, and the control they have over others as well. This is why you see video after video of caregivers beating their elderly patients, or denying them medication. And again, this goes back to societal narcissism. You see, if it were a lot more easy to develop your own family, the chances you would end up in such a place would be extremely low. But just like the individuals that run societal narcissism thrives on the pain and suffering of others. That's why you always are hearing about a conflict over here and a conflict over there. Because there are individuals that literally enjoy the pain of others. However, some people that are like this don't have seats of power. They just might be the educator of your child, or the person caring for your elderly loved one. And though there are great people that are in these fields, there are many that are terrible that end up in such jobs that love the power and control they have to ruin another helpless person's life. They gave this child a spoon, allegedly, while on video, and forced this child to eat his own vomit. And these are the same people, allegedly, that would, if not caught, that would say, well, we've done all we can with your child. His chances at having a productive life is slim. When in reality this child might be a genius, but was abused so much it messed him up so bad, he couldn't move forward and find out what his life mission is. And just when we've thought we could see all we could see regarding narcissistically abusive behavior in this story, allegedly, a body cam video of a woman arrested for drunk driving that hit two walking pedestrians and ended their life is acting like she could care less. And if you search for it and watch it, watch the ending. She is literally questioning if she will be able to get her car back so she can go to school tomorrow. The officer says, I've explained to you several times. Your car is part of a crime scene now. You've ended two people's lives. And you will not be going to school tomorrow because you will be in jail without bond. She very sassy and smart like says, well, fine. I won't be going to school tomorrow. How about Tuesday? I have a night class. The officer says, what is sick is you are over here acting like this and you just ended two people's lives? I've repeated myself to you several times. And you don't seem to care. You are over here singing and laughing. This is narcissism. In my opinion. Or psychopathy on full display. Though this woman was arrested for drunk driving, she isn't slurring her words, and was very coherent. And by the way she was acting, she greatly reminded me of the women you see on these relationship podcasts talking about they are looking for a high-value man. Gentlemen, and ladies too, be super careful who you pick to partner up with. However, the reason why I signaled out the men in this instance is these videos showing these types of ladies on these podcasts saying you have to get your money up, and these women don't want bums. And here's the thing. Their idea of being a bum is having a normal job and having a normal income. I have to say this loud and clear. Stay clear of these types of ladies. Because when you see this video, this woman had literally, and I do mean literally, no remorse or sorrow for what she had done. Actually, she was more focused on herself and appeared to think the entire thing was amusing. And part of it was, I believe, in my humble cartoon opinion, And this is something I think happens to many like her. And other disordered people. They get away with so much over year after year. Using their charm and manipulation skills to make others to look like they have done them wrong but they are innocent. They have gotten away with horrible things for so long, that when something like this happens, they think it will be no different. That we are going to just fall in love with them and say, oh, nothing to see here. But this time the charm doesn't work. And again, this is the same regarding both male and female narcissists. They all do the same thing. However, we have seen this big push with these women that most of them, let's be honest, are likely narcissists, are on these podcasts, trying to convince men that have money to fall in love with them and make them their wife. Fellas, read your Bible. And take God's instructions on finding a good woman to be with. Stay far away from the women that you see on these podcasts and women like you will see in this Illinois drunk driving body cam video. Trust and believe there are men and women like this everywhere. And they will get jobs as educators. They will become your boss at work. And this is why societal narcissism must be what it is. Because if you became self-sufficient, meaning you were able to financially make your own way in the world, and you were able to have more control over your child's education, societal narcissism would fall apart. But here's what I say when dealing with any of these things in life. Take your time. Really slow things down. Because please know people like this are out there. It's okay. Question everything. Narcissists want to make you think you are crazy for doing so. And the reason why they do that is so they can keep societal narcissism going. And the last story of total evil and narcissism on full display. There was a road anger, let's just say, incident at Coachella where they have music festivals and such. And there were lots of cars either trying to get there or leave. And one car kept trying to cut into the line of cars. They were very harassing while doing so. And when they got up to another car, they were trying to harass those inside. A guy in the car that was trying to cut in, at a very close distance, threw a bottle through the window of the car right next to them. And what was the scariest of what happened was the look on this guy's face. It was that of evil and satisfaction. And because of that, I have a message for the ladies. Society would say, be with the dangerous guy like this guy. He doesn't take anything from anyone. There are men out there that aren't like this guy, that aren't chumps either. They believe in God. They train their mind, body and soul. But they are kind and loving at the same time. However, society, just like it's brainwashing men, it's sadly brainwashing women to like evil men. And more men are adopting evil so they can be what they call today savage. A person that doesn't care. A person with no remorse. And no love. Now ask yourself, what kind of husband do you think someone like that would be? And what kind of father do you think he would be as well? That's right, the cycle of narcissistic abuse would continue and continue. Everyone. These examples show us. Narcissists and even worse are everywhere. And they do want to make it so you can't have a good life. So you know what you do? You have a great life. You have the best life you can. Praise to Jesus Christ. You have the best life you can have. And you keep your head on a swivel and you keep these demons out of your life. Do not let them into the front or back or the side door of your life. Slow things down. Slow things down. With that said, I do hope your day is blessed. And until next time, bye for now. And be good to yourself.